Generally, we're running about between 55 and 60 pound average is pretty typical. The ration consists of, I think we're at about 40 pounds of corn silage. We do sorghum, forage sorghum in baleage form. As far as grain crop, row crop, we are right around 2,600 acres. We balance he rebalances the ration, and then in the spring, when the pasture's really lush and they're really cranking on it, about 60% of the ration is coming from pasture.
Before people could come, family could bring their own jug, fill it out of our tank, and then it changed to where we could have a point of sale on the farm. The ROPS down in Bloomington Normal that we're just starting up a Jersey cheese, and we just felt Illinois probably wasn't able to support two local cheese places within 45 minutes of each other.
Well, we are now at Kilgus Homestead Dairy here in Fairbury, Illinois, and as you can see from the background, we have Jersey cattle. And our Paul Kilgus is one of the co-owners of this dairy. It's a very unique dairy in the sense that not only do they have Jersey cows, very genetically good cows, and that they also have steers that they finish out, and they also have swine and meat goats from that aspect as well. So anyway, this is an excellent dairy farm, doing very, very well. Paul, any your comments about the farm and the family?
Yeah, well, it's a family-owned farm, and it's really opened up a lot of opportunity for family to come back. And we've really focused on the niche market. We're very diversified, as Mike said. We've got a lot of different moving parts, but with the owners of my nephew Matt, my two sons Justin and Trent, and then myself as owners, we all work together, and yet we are very diversified, so we're in charge of our own area, and it really works nicely to bring an end product to the community that we're really proud of, and we stand behind it. With the store, we figured we either needed to get bigger or forget it, but we've really picked up a lot of traffic. And did he kind of share where we're at with the raw milk thing? That's just exploding by the week. The other thing is there's a lot of people that say they're lactose intolerant or declared and they're able to handle this. And I don't know, I'd want to give the Jersey milk all the credit, but I don't know if I can do if that's totally accurate or not. But I do think there is benefit there. We pay a little attention to it. We do get requests for A2 cows if some possibly people are wanting. So we've done some testing, but we're not actually advertising it as A2 milk. But within the Jersey breed, obviously there is a lot more A2. So we're running right at 213 is what we ran through the parlor this morning.
Okay.
Which is considerably more than what we anticipated when we first started. I mean, obviously we started bottling with the thought that we would milk over 80 cows, and that it would allow more family to come back. But I do remember when we went and visited some other places, they told us this is the crossroads that you'd come to, that as it continues to grow, do you just tell people no, or do you continue to grow with it? And with the new challenge, and I guess you can look at it as a challenge, but having more employees, minimum wage and things like that, you just got to look at ways to generate a lot more income. So we've decided that diversification is a good thing. We have a lot of family working together, and I would say it all works really, really well. But I think part of that is because we all work together, but everybody kind of has their own area, and so you're not all on top of each other. So as far as the dairy side, it's my son Trent and I do most of the livestock part with the dairy. Trent's really focusing more on the genetics. We can talk a little bit about it, but we've started collecting bulls. I think we've got about, we've collected like 6 or 8 of them right now. And that seems to be selling quite a bit of semen. So that's been really, really good. And so, and then we've diversified with the steers, the hogs, the Berkshire hogs, the meat goats. So Justin, our oldest son, he's kind of taken the locker part, the meat processing, and kind of ran with that. Matt obviously does the bottling. He's kind of manages that. So, but like I said, we all work together, but yet we work in our own separate areas. So it's Kilgus Dairy LLC, and that includes all the livestock and the grain farm, and then Kilgus Farmstead Incorporated is the bottling, and then we also have a Kilgus Properties LLC. So all the property buildings are owned, and then we all own our own separate farm ground and houses. As far as grain crop, row crop, we are right around 2,600 acres. So, and that's mainly corn, soybeans, and then we usually run about 100 acres of winter wheat. We've got about 75 acres of pasture, and then alfalfa, which the alfalfa, we have done where we put alfalfa out on somebody else's ground and we just pay them by the ton. So it's kind of cash rent, but it's not. So that's worked out really well. So
you're running 2,600 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
So
where's the extra labor coming in that time of the season?
We do pull in a couple semi-retired guys to drive truck, and it gets a little crazy around here.
Is it coming out right now? Are you okay?
Yes, yeah, we're right in the heat of it. We probably got we're hoping today to finish up soybeans. So I think we ran through about 1,400 acres of soybeans.
And what's the yield looking like?
Yields are really good. Lowest field has been 70 all the way up to 90. So it's been exceptional. We haven't done a lot of corn. We've done some high moisture, and that was running in the 280s. So it's really good. So as far as this is we have a double 10 parallel parlor. It's built just strictly for Jerseys. We're milking 2 times a day. We did, and we'll kind of look at that, but we've divided now into 3 groups of cows, because when we built the compost barn, it was built for 75 cows inside, 150 cows. So we've been really overcrowding it all summer, but we could do that with the pasture. Now that we're pulling them off pasture and less hours on pasture, we just needed another barn, and so we're right in the middle of converting it, but there's cows in there. It was steers. And then we've also we've got a group of 16 that are just show cows. They're going to be going down to Louisville, but once they're back from Louisville, they'll go in with the fresh group. So we use mainly sex semen on the heifers, some on the cows. We do a fair amount of flushing, embryo work, and we've been doing, what's worked really well is we've done a little bit of IVF, but mainly conventional flushing with sex semen, and we've had really good luck with that. And just cost-wise, it makes a little more sense for us. We've been using the Limflex, Limousin Angus cross, on Jerseys. It makes really, really good animals to feed out. I'd like to use a little more, but we've been using a lot of our low end for embryos, to carry embryos. So I am hooked up with there's a Jersey dairy out in Ohio that breeds a certain percent of their cows to Angus or Limflex, and so I've been taking all of theirs. About twice a year we'll get a group of 40 from them, So that's worked out really well. So we've got about 300 to 325 steers on feed from babies on up. We really need, we're kind of shooting for 400. That's about what we need to supply our market. And that's picked up pretty good, the beef market. So yes, the Jersey Angus or the Jersey Limflex cross has been really good for feeding out. I do buy in some Angus cattle too, feeder calves, plus our straight Jersey. We do some. We've done obviously all of our bulls, and we will do some, but it's not as a regular. Yeah. Basically, we've kind of created our own stud.
Okay.
It's called Kilgus Elite Sires, and so Trent's kind of manning that, and I've got a catalog. I had him leave one here. That's pretty exciting. So. Yeah, we really don't, as far as like the genomic part, we haven't. It's more, we're shooting for the cow families type udders. I don't know, I guess it's kind of what we feel is missing a little bit. I know you got to have a balance, but we feel like if you breed them right, and you care for them right, feed them right, they're going to milk. Generally, we're running about between 55 and 60 pound average is pretty typical. 5% fat. Wintertime we'll run 5.2, 5.3, 3.8 to 4 protein. That's kind of where. And somatic cell count, I think all summer we've been right at 100,000 or under. So, and I think the pasture, the compost barn is huge in that. But it's like anything, it's got to be managed right. Yeah, we use a pre and a post. It's the same thing. It's an iodine based, and we've used it for years. We've got along great. So, yeah, we pre-dip, we strip, and then we wipe off with an individual towel for each cow, and then attach. Yep, we run 2 people. Yep, we use the Tomorrow dry off tubes and the teat sealant. We've used a couple different kinds.
Dry treating everything? Or
yes, everything. No, everything gets dry treated. Yep. And we shoot for a 60-day dry period. So this is our pre-fresh close-up pen. We'll bring them in 2.5 to 3 weeks before calving, and pretty basic grass hay, and then TMR that's balanced for close-up. We keep it pretty simple, and it's not that we don't ever have milk fever, but it works really well. We haven't had much. When we first got into the jerseys, it was a struggle, but we were on a learning curve. So we use a dry cow pellet that Graymont makes for us, and we use Rally, the Rally pellet, and then some microbes and stuff like that, but pretty basic corn silage and that, and then grass hay. And then so then this is actually, dry cows go here in the winter, but right now this is our show cow pen. These are cows that are probably going to go to Louisville, or they're there, and then we'll make the final cut in a few weeks. And they get some TMR, but we keep them on baleage, long grass hay, and grain and beet pulp with a little TMR, and then we'll transition them off of TMR just for show time, and then they'll go back.
Now
so
that's a new barn there, isn't it?
This one right here?
Yeah.
Actually, this was our old freestall barn. It's about the only original one left here. The big old barn used to sit here, and so that'll serve the purpose for a while. We're kind of seeing how this is all going to work. But so this cow here, she is 95 points. She is actually the bull mother of a lot of the bulls, and she's gonna finish with her 305, close to 29,000, I think. So she's we're
a good one.
pretty excited with her. We sell a few embryos. Mainly we've been putting in our own cows.
Okay.
And so we've had 2 of them, but every other year in March we try to have a tag sale. So we're gearing up for another one this spring.
What is a tag sale?
So basically, it's not a live auction. We'll go through and select genetics, and mainly from our cows. We'll pull a few in from other breeders, and so basically it's all online. So we'll tie them up, we'll get them ready, and it'll be video and all online, and that's worked out really, really well. So that has been a real positive addition to part of our.
And I assume Trent oversees that.
Trent, yeah. So yeah, Trent and I work with the dairy, but Trent, he kind of mans it, and we work together on it. So I'm trying to transition it to the younger ones. So this is the new group we just created. This actually we built it as a heifer barn in '01. Then we put steers in it, and now we are going to make it a compost barn. For now, we're going to see how it works. They've just been in here about 3 or 4 days, so we're kind of in the middle of transition. We're going to obviously change the neck rail along the front. This was more for the steers. So what we're doing here is the fresh cows are coming in here, and so we're hoping fresh cows and 2-year-olds. We're hoping that it will be a positive step to having a third group.
Yep.
Not only just for room, but just for getting them taken off. The second group will be they'll go here from the fresh group into there at breeding time, and then once they're confirmed pregnant, they'll go into the third group. The ration consists of I think we're at about 40 pounds of corn silage. We do sorghum, forage sorghum in baleage form. About 18 pounds of that. About 15 pounds of alfalfa baleage, high moisture corn, and then a protein mix. So right now we're about 42 pounds of dry matter is what we're getting in them.
Okay.
And we have to keep it pretty basic. So our protein base is linseed meal, and you probably remember from our early days. We don't have any soy in the ration because being non-homogenized and a single source milk, it would give it an off flavor. So it would give it people would think it was bad. And a place up in Iowa we talked to, that's kind of where we got the idea of going non-homogenized, and they just said soy won't work because and especially when you're non-homogenizing, because that homogenization is what masks your flavor, or the difference. That's why you can pull your milk together. So so we keep it pretty basic, the linseed meal, but that also lends itself really well with the pasture and the omega-3s, and so it's high, and linseed is high in that, so it's a good marketing point too. And it's worked out. We get along well with that. Yeah. So yeah, this, like I said, this barn is kind of in transition. It's kind of experimental. If it works good in here, we will probably pour concrete walls, and make it a full-blown compost barn where we till it and everything. But that is the idea. So yeah, we're in the conversion process. And a little bit experimental, but so far it's worked out really, really good.
Yeah.
I think we're on our 3rd year in this. Have you ever been in here, Mike? We built this, and it has worked out really well. So we keep all of our calves, obviously the heifers, all the bull calves are kept, and if they're not, sometimes we'll do genomic testing on them to see if they'll out of the good cow families. And then otherwise we steer them and we feed them out. So we're keeping all of our calves. So basically, we've got 4 rows, and it's concrete, but it's sloped, and then we've got a French drain in the front and in the middle, so they stay dry. And then we'll wean it. I wean it 60 days, and we'll keep them in here a couple more weeks, and then we transition them to super hutches into a small group, and then they go on down to Trent's place. We did a few years ago. We went to the milk taxi, which is the mobile pasteurizer, and that has worked tremendous, because the Jersey calves are a challenge to raise, but we get along pretty good. And then after we wean them and they're moved out, everything's disassembled and power washed, and so it makes it really nice. But this has been a really good step of a barn for us, because we get a lot of good ventilation. We can open it all up or close it all up. So it's worked good. The only problem is it wasn't big enough. That's fine.
But how many pens do you have now?
We're right at 50. We can have 50 in here.
50. Wow. Okay. Yep. When did you make the big decision to expand? A year ago?
Oh, we've been working on it for a year. You know, and I just feel like it's important that everybody that's involved has to be committed. You know, has to be in on it. If anybody has any reservation, then it's not worth it. So, and everybody is. It's we just felt like it's the time to. We just need to be, and maybe Matt probably alluded to that too. We're just doing so much more milk than what we had built it for, so it just needs to be made a little more efficient. So things are more efficient, streamlined, and then a focus on quality. You know, where we're bottling going into the cooler and so forth. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of positives that'll come with it. Basically, I'll offer it at about 4 days old, a 22% calf starter, and then they will stay on that all the time they're in here. And then when I transition them to their small transition group, we drop down to a 18% grain mixed with the 22%. So I do a transition and then put them straight on that. And I do run a low dose of aureomycin in there just to help that transition respiratory. So that's as far as diet, that's where the calves are at. The colostrum, so definitely I just feel like colostrum is really the most important part of the calf, getting off to a good start. So we will do a little testing as far as the colostrum quality. Generally our older cows is what we'll save from, and we'll make sure they get 4 feedings of colostrum in them. And we try to get it in within the first couple hours. Corn in the middle of the night, that doesn't happen, but
here's the calf starter.
Yep, that is
it's a texturized calf starter.
Yep.
The corn's crimped and pellets, lots of molasses. You feel it. You see the molasses on it as far as that goes. It's really a good calf starter. That's the way to go.
Yep, that works.
You can almost
really
eat
well.
that for breakfast food.
A little milk and you have her made. How we got started in the hogs is number one, I never envisioned myself being a hog farmer. But so when we decided to bottle, go to bottling, it was going to be, once we started bottling, that was it. Prairie Farms would no longer pick us up. So it was kind of like jumping in the fire with both feet. And so we gave a lot of product away. We had to bring some back. And so we had some extra milk to throw away. So we got the idea, well, we'll get some hogs and feed it to them. And Justin, my oldest son, he was kind of dabbling in selling some meat. And then, so we thought, oh, maybe they'll be interested in pork, you know. Well, so we did that for a while. Well, then when the milk sales took off and we didn't have extra milk to feed the hogs, we thought about just getting rid of the hogs. But then these places had already, they kind of begged us to stay in. So then we started buying feeder pigs. Well, then the price of feeder pigs went through the roof. And then we ran into a little trouble bringing pigs from different places. from just disease standpoint. So we decided, well, why not just follow the same pattern as the rest of the farm, and let's start them here and finish them here. So we jumped in and started farrowing some hogs, some sows. Right now I've got about 70 Berkshire sows that we farrow, and then we take it to finish. So it's all, they're born on the farm, and it's where they stay the whole time. The Berkshire is, I would say, it's the chef's choice of pork, because they're much heavier marbled, and it's a little more of a red, I would say the red hue to the meat, and so it brings a lot of flavor, and there is a big difference. Probably, if you want to say a negative to the Berkshire, is their litter size is not as big, but we have averaged 8 to 9 pigs a litter, so I'm super happy with that. We really haven't had any mothering ability problems. I do source my gilts from a place in Iowa, and they've done a really good job on the maternal side. So, and then I try to find boars that come from a place where it's more focused on your meat quality, and it's really made a really nice cross. So, so this is my gestation barn, and the breeding barn here, and then they when they get within 10 days of farrowing, we move them to the farrowing barn, and then they go on down to Justin's place to finish out after they're born. So they've been farrowing about 2.5 times a year each sow. That's kind of the goal. Yeah, and we try to farrow continuously. It's some more or less, but so we right now we are harvesting 25 to 30 hogs a week. So basically, when COVID hit, we were working with a local processing plant, and they got overloaded, and we ran into just a little bit of quality issues. And so a local guy that owned a processing plant over in Forest, he says, "Hey, why don't you let me kill them? You can rent my old processing room and do it yourself." And so Justin, our oldest son, he decided, yeah, let's do that. And that was the best move we made, because we have control over the product from the start to the finish. And then he custom cuts. Different meat shops want it different ways, and it's really been an exciting venture. So we pay them to kill them and to hang them, and then we take them from there. So yeah, it's been a really good move. So after the calves are weaned, we take them off of milk and wean them at 60 days, leave them in there for 2 or 3 more weeks, and then these are the transition super hutches, where they go into a small group of 5 to 7, and then we transition them from the 22% texturized starter to an 18% grain mix. And they will stay in here for a month to 2 months, depending on if we have room and how they're doing, and then we transition them to the heifer barn. So ideally, once a year, in the fall, we take it out and put it on for fertilizer on the row crop fields. And if you don't go over 75 cows a side, which is where it needs to be, it'll take you a whole year. I mean, it'll last a year. And so yeah, basically we till it twice a day generally after every milking. Or if they go out to the pasture, then we'll till it. As far as the bedding source, we use sawdust, and really the key to make it work is to till at least 10 inches deep, and then plenty of air movement. You got to have air circulation, whether it's natural or we use natural, and then the fans. This time of year, it's great. Humidity's low, everything's dry. Sometimes in the spring when it's really wet and cool, it can be a little bit of a challenge, but you maybe take a little more bedding. We will add fresh bedding in the winter when the cows are in here all the time. We will add fresh bedding twice a week. So basically, kind of what we use as a to know when it's time to bed is if the tires on the tractor are wet when you're tilling, and if it's not steaming real good, then you know it's time to add some more. And so the more it steams, the better it's working. And it needs to work properly, it needs to be at 135 degrees to really make it compost. But really the beauty of it is when you go to haul it out on the fields, it does not have a lot of odor to it. I mean, we can go right down by the golf course and spread it, and they don't even know we've spread manure. And it has really done wonders for the soil. So, it's you spend, it's sawdust isn't cheap, but so a couple of reasons why we like this is it's very compatible to the pasture. When we had freestalls and we brought the cows in and out of pasture, they weren't real excited about laying down. Our freestalls weren't, probably they weren't the state of the art freestall like some, they weren't sand bedded and stuff. But the other thing that we have found is cow comfort is phenomenal. Heat detection is really good with the compost. The other big one is we get a lot of tours, and it's a lot of city people that come. It's very public friendly. Because lots of times they just simply don't understand why freestalls work for a lot of dairies and the reasoning behind it. But so this resembles them laying out in the pasture. So all that together, it's worked really well for us. The longevity of the cows has been tremendous. Probably another thing that we've really seen huge when we went from freestalls to compost is we struggled with foot warts, the hairy foot wart. When we came into here, those have just disappeared.
Are you walking cows through a bath?
We do run a foot bath. We try to do it once a week in the return alley of the parlor.
Isn't that your copper sulfate?
Yes. Doesn't always get done every week, but at least every 10 days it's done.
What about hoof trimming? Are you doing any hoof trimming?
Yep.
You yourself, or do you bring somebody on?
No, Paul Grable from up north does it, and we're on a program with him, and he comes like every 6 weeks and runs through everything, and it works out.
You pick them all up, or you have selected cows?
He tries to make sure he gets through all the cows. Oh, let's see, what is it? 3 times a year, maybe. So he has a way of keeping track of what he's done, and so it's worked out really well. This is what our protein mix looks like, if you're interested in that. The majority of it is linseed meal with your vitamin mineral packs in there. So
does their truck just drop it off, blow it in here? How does it get in here?
We put a lid on the top. We'd like to do a commodity barn or shed, but we're not sure where we want to locate it, so we went with these containers, and they actually work really, really well. Very reasonable, and they work good. Yep. So we'll walk down.
Both of them have the same feed in?
That's just bag feed.
Bag.
Yep.
Wasn't there an issue with the soybean not foaming either?
What's that?
A foaming issue with soybean meal?
Foaming?
Foaming, it didn't want to foam. See, it seemed to me that was another problem you had besides the off odor or flavor.
Not really, huh? Let's see. I don't remember that was a foaming issue.
Okay.
I do know we work with a lot of coffee shops, and that foaming is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where the Jersey milk really shines. I don't understand the whole foaming thing, but it's really, really important to them, and so that's a good thing. So this pile here is corn silage. This is high moisture corn, and then we do an earlage. Generally, the earlage is in the cow ration. We did run out, so we're waiting. I think we can start feeding it now this week, but we're wanting to give it a little time. Yep. So we like to have enough, but with the increase in cows and steers, we ran just a little bit short. So we're still on the old pile here from last year. We're real close to switching, but
you got a lot of silage here yet from last year.
yeah, we had a decent amount.
Where is this year's silage? You got another bunker?
No, right here. No, this
Bag?
this year starts right there.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had this much from that row of bags to there was
Okay.
what was left, and then we just we covered it and we started packing on that. So that's all this year's.
Okay.
We did 1,700 ton, I think.
Is that gonna
what
be
we got.
enough?
It should be. Yeah. That's
How much pasture do you think? How much dry matter? What's the pasture contributing?
So
normal, typically.
So we don't change our rash as far as how it's balanced for the pasture. We used to, and it just seemed like we were like this all the time. So what we do is we balance he rebalances the ration, and then in the spring when the pasture's really lush and they're really cranking on it, about 60% of the ration is coming from pasture, and then it drops down depending on how the summer is. Generally hangs 40 to 50%. Now when it gets real dry, it'll drop a little bit more. But now if we get some rain here this fall, it'll pick back up and we can hit that 60%. So we just kind of adjust how much we feed, but we don't actually go in and change.
So it's the amount of PMR that's good you put in front of the cow.
Right. Yes. Yep.
And who makes that call? You you go to a certain weighback level, or?
Yeah, basically whatever we we used to just feed our way back to the steers. They're not here right anymore, but so hopefully we're going to have a pen of close-up heifers, and then we'll probably use that for them. Okay. So yeah, we kind of just gauge it off of
someone has to read the bunk.
Right.
You read the bunk.
Yes.
So
yeah.
The bunks are
Trent basically does most of the mixing, or pretty much all the mixing, and so he'll do that. But he or I will make that call. And so yeah, this is our baleage. The grass hay, we mix it in for the dry cows. But so as far as we do use a low lignin alfalfa, and we cut every 25 to 28 days. So we actually just cut our 6th cutting the other day. So we're actually going to bale it today. We're actually going to dry bale that.
So do you put that in a double screw mixer to grind her up a little bit?
Yeah, but they do run knives in it, so as you can see, it cuts it. That really makes it nice.
Yeah. Is it your baler?
No, we we just have them bale it. Yeah, obviously we probably would have built the compost barn a little bit bigger, but our idea was, well, we'll never go over 150 cows. Let's see what we would do different. I don't really, like on the bottling, I know there was some things, we definitely would have probably the guys would have probably went and worked at a bottling facility for a while before we started the bottling. But as far as the cows, really it was just be more, maybe went bigger with the compost barn.
You're at 213 milking today. Will that go to 300, 350?
I want to say no, but we're probably a little limited, you know, because I still want to continue to do the grazing. We're probably a little limited because we're a little bit landlocked, and just because of, you know, sitting right next to the town, and with roads on each side, as far as the grazing, we're maxed out on what we can graze.
So the grazing is all here on this
yes.
side of the road.
So it goes down around the pond, goes down along the timber line.
Is that your timber?
Part of it is, yep. But no, as far as what I would do different, yeah, I don't really.
How long does it take to milk the cows? Double 10?
We generally figure we can do 100 in an hour, 2 people. So, yep. Obviously now with more groups, you know, it takes one person to
get them.
Yep. But yeah, no, as far as looking ahead, yeah, hopefully the next generation will want to come along, and you know, and we've talked about that. We're diversified enough that if the grandkids down the road want to take, you know, like say Justin's kids say, oh, I want to just focus on the meat part, I think it's doable, and yet everybody relies on each other. It takes everybody to make the whole thing work. But I do think that's the beauty of the diversification, is everybody can be somewhat independent in their own area, but yet you all work together. Yeah. We run 2 planters, and so we usually start planting corn and beans at the same time. So
the only custom work is coming
is
in
just
corn side,
the forages.
Forages.
Yep.
Forages.
Yep. The baling and the chopper. I don't know. We may end up getting our own baler. The chopper, I just figure for the investment in that and 1,800 ton of silage, it's pretty nice. And the thing is till we all run the semis and the pack tractors, you know, we'd have to go hire somebody to run the chopper anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and he does a really good job.
We so here at Kilgus Farmstead, we started our on-farm processing in June of 2009. We were kind of looking for ways. We had more family interested in coming back to the farm, and we were just trying to look at ways to diversify. We didn't really feel like just, you know, growing the cow numbers, or obviously farming more land is not, you can't just go out and magically make that happen. So that's kind of when we started researching what ways we could diversify our current product we were producing. So we did a lot of research, went to some different states, looked at some on-farm processing plants and so forth. We had first thought about the cheese side of it, and then we decided the ROPS down in Bloomington Normal that we're just starting up a Jersey cheese, and we just felt Illinois probably wasn't able to support 2 local cheese places within 45 minutes of each other. But as we kind of looked at the time, there was nobody else doing fluid milk, and we went out of state, saw a couple different places that you know, had some on-farm family farm processing that did fluid milk, and they helped us out quite a bit. And so we kind of dove into that in 2008. We kind of made the commitment to move ahead, and it was about a year process that we got going, and then in June of 2009 we started. We had to, one of our hurdles in all this was, once we started our on-farm processing, our co-op would no longer take our milk, so that was kind of the biggest hurdle in the whole decision. We just had to know that we had to sell the milk in our jugs once we started on-farm processing. So we did, at the time we were milking about 90 cows. We did cut the herd back to probably about 60 cows, and we started with about 30 outlets, and that was used about half of the milk we were producing, so we did have to dump milk. We had a local calf feeder that took some, and then we kind of got into the swine business alongside of that, and that's when the swine industry was down and younger hogs were not worth much, and so we had bought in some of those, and we did some milk-fed pork to kind of use up the excess until we started establishing markets, got our name and brand out there, and so slowly but surely we went from, in 09, that, marketing 1,500, 2,000 gallon of milk and 20 to 30 outlets, and slowly over the years have grown it to currently here in 2024. We're probably doing around, I would say, 8,000 gallon a week. We do have a little bit that goes out and supplies some bulk to some other farmsteads, but mainly it's going out in our jugs, and then we probably have around 200 plus outlets. And outlets consist anywhere from restaurants to grocery, retail, but probably our biggest market, and one we didn't know existed back when we started, was the coffee shop market. And I would say we're probably close to 70% of our milk going to the coffee shop market currently. And pretty much all of our milk is within the state of Illinois. There's a little bit that maybe goes into Wisconsin or a little bit into Indiana, but mainly Illinois, about 40% into the Chicago area. We have a distributor up there that distributes our milk, comes twice a week, picks up a load of milk, and they do the distribution mainly for us up there. And then we run some downstate routes ourselves, as well as have a couple distributors that distribute our product down here also. I guess our family structure is my Uncle Paul and his two boys, Justin and Trent, and then there's myself that are involved. And myself and my cousin Justin operate the milk processing side of it, and then we kind of evolved with a meat business, keeping our steers back, and then with we started with the milk-fed pork, but when we ran out of milk, there was still a demand for the pork, butcher shops and restaurants, and so we've got that, as well as a goat operation that Paul's boys, Justin and Trent, had started back as a 4-H project, which kind of grew into marketing the meat goat side of it. So my cousin Justin kind of handles the meat side of it, and then I kind of manage the milk bottling and the outlets and the balance and that type of thing. And then my Uncle Paul with his other son Trent kind of manage the dairy herd and the breeding stock side of it. Mainly just keeping up with the outlets we have. We do, as I'd mentioned, we do have a couple bulk places. We have a guy that's making Kurdish yogurt up in Chicago that he's kind of fell in love with the milk here, and we're trying to supply him. So he'll take pretty much any excess we have, which is a big step for us, because we've never had a balancer. We've always had to get to the holiday season or something, we've had to dump. All of a sudden you hit the skids for a couple weeks till everybody gets back in their routines, where this is kind of a game changer for our balancing, just because we're not supplying all of him, but it'll take everything extra that we have. So but in turn he'd like us to get just a little more to guarantee him at least X amount a week, and then we can go above that if we have it.
What do you see as the biggest challenge that you have here in the manufacturing end of the
Just as far as like with the processing or the marketing or anything?
Once the milk comes from the cows, it's your job to find a home for that.
Yeah.
So do you see any big challenges that you have now?
It's you can never get comfortable. About the time you think it's matching, again, that supply and demand. But I will say, probably the restaurant industry this last winter struggled more than we have ever seen it in the 15 years. I assume just with the high food costs and labor costs and what they're having to charge for a plate, and I think people are getting to a point that we might just have to cut back on our, eating out. But in turn, the coffee shops and the milk side of it, that hurt the meat side a little bit of it, but the milk side of it has probably been the strongest winter and spring/summer now that we've ever had with it. So I think it's just, yes, we have a balancer, but it's still just trying to, about the time we're about right, they've got 10 cows that need dried up, or we're about right and we've got 10 cows calving in. So it's just it's opened our eyes to what a big processor, just at a different scale, and I know it comes holiday season, they do the same thing we do. You just have to balance it. It may mean, unfortunately, we've always had the cream market, so we could always dump the skim if we had to and save the cream, because we've got a good market for cream, so that's helped us also. But largely, a lot of small plants do dump a lot of skim to make things work out, but we fortunately don't have that.
So that skim milk would end going to the swine, pigs at that point?
We did for a while, but then we realized they didn't do too much on skim milk. So we kind of realized we were wasting our time on that. So when we say dump the skim, it's really just going back out on the fields, So, we realized if it's not the full real deal for the hogs, it's not worth the time and feeding.
Somebody like Zaire, who does the breeds calves, would they take the skim milk?
Kind of the same thing. They need everybody wants the fat. Yeah. And those first years were the real struggles with that, and a lot of excess, a lot of those types, and during certain times. But I think each year we improve on that hurdle, but it's taken 15 years to try to get better at that.
I'm not sure we caught it on here, but the raw milk, there is an interest in raw milk. Is that correct? Any comments about the raw milk?
Yeah, so probably might have been about, I don't know, right after COVID or about that time, whenever Illinois kind of changed some laws there. Before people could come, family could bring their own jug, fill it out of our tank, and then it changed to where we could have a point of sale on the farm. We could fill the jugs here, and so we did go ahead and put a raw milk cooler in our store. We just have to have signage posted on the sign or on the side of it, and then certain things on the label with a 5-day sell-by date on it. So, the challenge is the limited shelf life on it, trying to keep it balanced, and yet not have people drive from 2 hours and show up at 8 o'clock at night and then you're out of raw milk. So, but it has grown. It seems like each week we kind of hit a new plateau with our sales on it, and I think last week being one of those, I think we were right around 850 gallons of the raw out the storefront here. So that's something that's really helped our on-farm store business is people coming for the raw milk, and usually getting other things then at the same time. Just straight full fat Jersey milk.
So you charge extra for that, I assume?
Yes.
Of the extra
Yes.
Fat, the value of the
Yes.
extra fat.
Yes. And I know you can hear some pretty astronomical prices on raw. We try to keep ours pretty reasonable. I mean, it is above what we sell our others for, but at the same time, we want to, move some volume too. So we think seems to be people will drive a couple hours for it.
But I'm guessing you got an advantage because You're bottling, so it's bottled just like the regular milk. So if I was going to buy raw milk, I'd buy it from you rather than bringing my containers in and taking it off of somebody's bulk tank.
Yeah, and with, you know, now in Illinois you do need a raw milk permit and things like that, and I guess that is an advantage for us. We just, you know, we're set up, we're doing our antibiotic testing, we're doing, you know, sending samples off for numbers once a month. So those things that maybe be hurdles for these smaller farms, you know, to get into, and in turn, you know, not every person in the Illinois Department of Public Health is gung-ho with the raw milk, but they do appreciate it coming from here just because of the facilities and the way we're able to process it and
all the raw
package
milk
it.
is inspected, is it not? You have to be inspected.
Yes, correct.
Not only you, but anybody who sells raw milk.
Yes, yes, yep. Anybody has to be regularly inspected, and that's kind of, you know, they started issuing these licenses to do these things, but in turn, yeah, anybody has to be inspected just like any other dairy plant selling to a
Just a quick
facility.
word about the meat. Basically, these are Jersey steers that you feed out here. Are they crossbred with a beef breed?
Sure, we do have some crossbreds. I mean, it started as mainly Jersey. We do buy some in to handle the load, and then we also do a little bit of crossbreeding or buy in some crossbred, and then we do get a handful of Angus in also. Just we do have some butcher shops and stuff that maybe, you know, prefer the bigger cuts, the more volume, and so we kind of got a mix of just Jersey, the crossbreds, and a little bit of Angus too.
Are you selling a lot of that out of the store right here, or what do you do with the beef, with the meat?
Yes, we do sell a fair amount out of the storefront. We also sell quarters and halves and those types of things also that people can come pick up, and then we also got butcher shops, you know, Peoria, Chicago, that'll take you know, quarters, sides, those types of things, and then process it down. So we're, you know, sending some out in more of a wholesale size to go to those places.
How much of product goes out of the store here? Maybe 10%, 5%?
You know, percentage-wise, my wife might know that question better when she gets over here, but it does grow. Like, I mean, we're filling these freezers, and I mean, we're doing a half a beef quite often for the store here, and it does, you know, that is growing each year.
So you'll continue to do that. I mean, as you're getting pretty much geared up now, you can almost phase it out, could you not? And
Yeah.
just the labor to have somebody here to.
Yeah. No, and that's kind of something too that changed with the COVID side of it. We were getting it all processed at the Shinoa locker, and then just things became so crowded, and you know, these places were over full, and then quality became an issue, and so we actually are renting space over at the Forest locker over there, where we have they do the kill and chill for us, but then we have a crew that we do all our own cutting and those types of things over there too. So that's kind of, Justin kind of manages that side of it, and Wednesdays are our big day over there, where they're, you know, cutting, processing things. We're cutting things down to go on the Chicago truck that goes Thursday, and you know, some days we have people over there, you know, 3 days a week. Sometimes it's one, just depending, but that's growing a little bit too. So that kind of gave us, you know, just a little more control from start to finish. No different than processing the milk from the cow to the end consumer. Now we kind of have control of, you know, that processing side of it too, and can do a little more critiquing and stuff to the way we want, you know, a chef or somebody, butcher shops wanting something. We have a little more control of that.
What about the pork and the goats? Same, it's handled through
Yeah.
same slaughter.
Yeah, and the pork side of it's probably grown the most, and that's, you know, probably the easiest to grow. But you know, I think we're doing 20 plus hogs a week, and probably 3 to 5 beef, and then goats can vary a little bit.
Is that pretty seasonal, the goats?
It was pretty steady with the restaurants in Chicago, but those probably were the hardest hit ones after COVID, that maybe just some in downtown Chicago that didn't bounce back maybe as quite as quick. So the goat's not what it used to be, but it's still still pretty decent, but it definitely took the hardest hit and didn't come back quite as good.
The milk ends up being a lot into coffee, is that right? That's one of your major resources for sales now, is lattes and creams and stuff
Yep.
like that?
Yeah, so as far as our one of our growing client bases is the coffee shops, the coffee chains. Obviously it's a very popular thing in America, and it's been really good, and it's been growing, and so no, that's been a real positive as we see this thing unfold.
And you're selling a lot right here on the farm too, do you not? Do you sell a lot of product? What do you sell here on the farm?
Yeah, so as far as what we sell here in our country store, we do sell quite a bit of meat. We do our own processing, and so we get a lot of people coming for that. And then also for the milk, we have ventured into the raw milk and became certified, and we can bottle it and sell it in the store here, and that has brought in numerous new customers really on a weekly basis. And so not only do they come to get the milk, but then it interests them in the meat products and so forth. So as it continues to grow, we as a family made the decision to expand, and so we've just begun our expansion of a more cooler space, freezer space, more storage, dry storage, and then hopefully it'll allow us to expand our processing room a little bit so it becomes a little more efficient. And then we've also made the choice and the decision to expand into a bigger farm store, which we're really excited about, and we think we can offer a lot to the public.
Will you add other things besides food to the store? Would you, kind of like a gas station, they sell everything at a gas station. Would
Yep.
you expand your merchandise base?
Yeah, I think we'll probably look at that. We haven't totally decided. We are planning to put a certified kitchen in the upstairs, and so that's going to open some doors. We have a gal that's started making gelato, and she needs a certified kitchen to put some additives, your food products such as your fruit and some of that. She needs a certified kitchen to do that. So that is one of the things we're going to add to our soft serve machine, is hopefully a gelato bar, and we're really excited about that, and I think that's going to open up a new opportunity.
Well, it's pretty amazing to see the technology that this farm has undergone, and the diversification, and the focus on family. You really want to maintain opportunities for those family members that want to join it, and it's a tremendous farm. Here they run over 2,400 acres of land, so they also are in crops, corn and soybean sales as well. So it's a huge challenge there, Paul, that you and your family undertake.
Yeah, and it does. It looks, and there is a lot of moving parts. It looks like a lot, and it is. But I think with being diversified and everybody in their own area, and we have some really good quality hired help right now, and which we really appreciate. They like the family atmosphere, and we think that's really important, that they feel part of the family team. And I think that's what really makes it go. So when everybody is there and does their job, many hands make light the work.
And it's pretty amazing. You got some tremendous genetics here. Some of these cows will be at the national show down in Louisville, as far as that goes. And second of all, they also have their own bull stud here that they are actually marketing semen from some of the elite cows in the herd here. So that's another joint venture that you're undergoing.
Yep. So a couple years ago, we kind of sat down with our tax guy, our farm manager, and consultant, and we just said, what can we do with what we have? Can we branch out to bring more value? And so a few years ago, we started a breeding stock tag sale, and we've done that every other year, and that generally is in March. And so we're looking forward to this March to having our third spotlight sale, tag sale, with some of our top genetics to offer to buyers. And then as we really focus on the genetics, we love good cow families. Our focus is feet and legs. This is what I've always felt is important. That's what I've tried to breed, and I've tried to pass it on to my kids. That if you have good feet and legs, shallow udders, good udder clefts, and good dairy strength, that's going to give you a good cow in the end. And so that's kind of where we've tried to take the genetics, and then we've also ventured into Kilgus Elite Sires, and my son Trent has kind of headed that up and is putting a lot of time into it. And right now I think we've got 6 bulls that we've actually collected, and we're selling conventional and sex semen on, and we've got 9 young bulls coming up that hopefully will join the lineup. So we're really excited, and we've been able to send it all over the United States so far.